Recently I started to work on procedural structures in Unity and any of RPG. It started with walls and then houses and finally with a whole city where you define roads and let the algorithm place houses around that. This is how it looks like in the editor and also in the play mode. The goal of this procedural method to build a city is to make it easier and much faster to build lots of houses and use that as a starting point for your game. Now let me show you how I did that in a new scene in any RPG. After setting up a terrain, I place road markers as waypoints for the streets that we plan to use. You can go crazy with this and you can have more than one street. We just need a bunch of transforms here and I like to keep them organized, so I group them by street. The next step is to add a city prefab to actually define the streets. In the City Maker script, you define the houses you want to use, as well as the roads. And the roads use a list of transforms that are converted into vectors, where you can use the vectors directly or just use the way I show you here. The houses in this list are just simple prefabs with a house definition. In the house definition, you tell the engine how big a house it is and define it in terms of layers, as well as some general parameters. Each layer can have multiple doors, windows and stairs, as well as floors and ceiling. The length of the street is calculated automatically, and the door to house or a door to street setting is meant as a distance from the door or the front of the house to the middle of the street. So setting it, for example, to 3.5 would mean we have a total distance from one door on the one side of the street to the one on the other side of the street of 7 units. The house-to-house distance is meant along the street between the houses. Clicking the button transforms to points actually fills the vector lists and calculates the length of the streets. I created a copy of one of the prefabs and a definition to show you how you can place a prefab on a door, for example. The next step is to define a route for all the generated houses. Finally, we can place the buildings. This is done by the engine, fetching the house dimensions and following the streets from start to end, and try to place the buildings on left and right side and remove or disable the ones which have collisions. And there is the ghost town. Now you can remove or change your placeholders. If, for example, they are on the street or you don't like it for some reason. You can build the houses individually or from a starting point in the hierarchy downwards. And that was the final step in the generation of your city, with, in this case, more than 280 houses. If you spend some more work on the lighting, it may actually look good, but yeah, that's it, your generated city. See you and have fun.